I'm your host, Alan Tracy.
I am Rehana Power.
You are.
I am. Yay.
And we're ready to be done with 2020.
2020, go home. Nobody wants you here. You've ruined everything. Quite literally.
Yeah. Well, this is our goodbye episode to 2020.
Which is a really nice way of putting it and not what I specifically said. I'm pretty sure a lot of profanity was used.
Do you want to put the explicit on this one? Should we? I think we could.
We probably could. I have a lot of really unpleasant things to say to 2020. And
yeah, let's get into that. Let's recall
Right.
the year that was 2020.
It was awful. God, it was awful.
Well, the first 2 months were,
they were
pretty
okay,
good,
yeah.
I think.
I mean, think positive things that came out of this year before the pandemic hit. Well, I shouldn't say that because technically the pandemic hit in January. We just didn't find out about it until after.
Mm-hmm.
But so before, let's say quarantine hit, I tried banana cream pie for the first time on National Pie Day, and turns out
What?
I like it. So and then I went and I bought other pies from the store, which was the last day you could go into a store to buy things, by the way, because that was the same, or the next day, that's when quarantine hit. It was National Pie Day. But yeah, and so I went and I bought 3 different pies. Literally no one that's listening cares about this. 3 different pies. And then
I like pie.
I liked them. I hate pie. So this is a big thing. This is the life-changing moment. 30s Rehana likes pie. And then later that year, just a few weeks ago, I decided, y'all, I'm going to learn how to make pie. I made a strawberry rhubarb pie. I'm basically a grandma now. So that's what 2020 did to me.
Well, that's good.
It's good times. And that podcast is done. Everybody's happy, right? We're good. Yeah. It's all...
So I really take to the cream pies because they're basically, like
what's your
I don't
favorite?
know, just sugar.
They really are, yeah.
Oh, it's just I like the French silk pies.
Naturally.
What else? Like the Oreo cookie pies.
Ooh, so you like the chocolate pies?
Yeah, I think I do. Yeah.
That's always been my one and only go-to pie is the chocolate pies.
Right.
Until this year when I expanded my horizons. You should.
I do like cherry pie. That's pretty good.
Nice. You should try banana cream. I thought that I was going to
once.
hate it. I was like, this just sounds awful. And I tried it anyway to be polite because I was at work. And I was like, somebody's offering me pie. I'm not going to be mean and say, no, I don't want your pie. So I tried it. And I was like, oh my God, I need more pie. And I had another piece.
Yeah, well, I mean, it has the cream with it.
It does.
It's it's built in that the banana doesn't get the whole show.
Yep.
So
that's true.
Here's whipped cream and
yeah, it's a lot of sugar, which is wonderful. Sugar has saved me this year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the year of COVID started out seemingly officially with no toilet paper.
Yeah, which you guys, what the hell? Why did you go and buy 16 freaking packs of the 32 pack of toilet paper? Who is buying all this toilet paper? You've got to still be stocked up. I don't understand why that was a thing.
I feel like people who would have enough money to do so, but also corner the market on it, so to speak, would be people like drug dealers or, something shady there, because people were buying toilet paper for way more than it was worth.
It just doesn't make sense. It's so weird.
How do you run out around the world?
Right. It's not like
my friend in France. Yeah, excuse me. My friend in France, he was saying the same thing. They didn't have toilet paper. It was like, what?
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't realize that was a thing elsewhere. That's really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
it's so fucking weird. I do have to say when the nope, you know what? I'm not going to go into it. It's too dark and too depressing. Yeah. So there was a long point in time where I live across the street from a CVS pharmacy. Mm-hmm. And so I would go in there like daily and I'd be like, hey, have you guys gotten your shipment of toilet paper yet? And they'd be like, nope. And they wouldn't tell me when they were getting their shipments in because they said they weren't allowed to. Otherwise, people, I don't know, they were afraid of like mobs of people buying toilet paper. I don't know.
Yeah.
And so they wouldn't tell me. So I had to go in every day to ask them. And I was like, if you just tell me, I'll stop bothering you. Like, I will come in Friday instead of Monday through Friday. Like, what are you doing? Drove me nuts. So thank you, everyone, for at least calming down on the toilet paper.
Yeah. Or at least stepping up production.
Right. Yeah. And there were weird things that were running out, too, for a while. Like, the toilet paper happened, the, like, Lysol Clorox wipes happened, and, okay, I can get that.
Yep.
Hand sanitizer, that's understandable. But then, like, there was, like, a 3-month period where, I don't know if anybody else knows this, I read about it, Dr. Pepper was, like, unfindable. It was just gone.
Oh.
Who in their right mind is worried about Dr. Pepper in a pandemic? Like, what is happening?
Well, they were expecting a light year, I'm sure.
Apparently. Oh my gosh. Yeah. It was an interesting insight into the minds of Americans.
Yeah, and I remember going to grocery stores, to Targets, and like the whole canned food aisle was empty.
Yeah.
I found like one can of like chili.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like that was it.
Yeah.
That's all the soup you get.
Yeah, just crazy, which is funny because you could, like, so many fresh, like, actual, like, fruits and vegetables and meat and all that were, like, still available. So people could have just, like, bought all of that and made their own stuff and then still had leftovers for more than just, like, one can of something. But then they went ham. It was, yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
People are crazy.
I guess it kind of makes sense in a kind of a, what do you call that, like, hunt and gather type of mindset, maybe?
Apocalyptic. Preparing, yeah.
Like, we don't know how long we're going to be in shutdown. I think that was the fear.
Yeah. Well, it was a logical fear because here we are.
Yeah. And here we are, like, 9 months later.
Yeah.
When we're recording this.
Right.
Like, you now have a vaccine. Like, is it 9 months? Yeah.
Yeah, well, kind of. Yeah, kind of. So,
1 year since, like, patient zero, basically.
Yes.
But
yeah. But even...
But, like, yeah.
Yeah, like, at least that we know of. That's the thing. Like,
right.
I don't think we're ever going to find out the whole truth, nothing but the truth, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, like, it's been a year. And who knows how long they've been working on it, like, within that time frame. But, we've got it, and I'm so freaking psyched about it. It's going to be a while until everyone gets it. For the love of God, people, please get it. Please. please do. Please do the thing. And I think both of them that have been approved now are a 2-parter. Yeah. Which is interesting. I feel like a lot of people that I know already knew that, and then I found out, and I was like, oh my God, you guys. And I'm telling everyone, they're like, yeah, no shit. We know. And I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah. I'm behind. But yeah, it's exciting. We're so close.
The fact that there are 2 that are approved is good. Because
right.
That means more can be supplied from 2 versus just 1.
Mm-hmm, exactly.
However, 1 has to be, like, deep frozen. I'm like, huh.
Really? That I didn't know.
Pfizer one.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
It's like minus 100 degrees or whatever the heck it is.
Oh. Well.
I'm like, how do you ship that? It's winter, but still.
Right, yeah. It's winter, but it's not...
Minus 90 something.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay. I'm sure there is a fully logical reason for that is beyond above my head. But,
right.
it's still exciting that there's two of them.
And there will be, I'm sure, iterations that,
Yeah.
continuously update. So maybe it doesn't have to be stored at minus 90 or whatever.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. You never know. It'll be interesting as that gets released and people start getting vaccinated and life starts changing a little bit again. Not necessarily getting back to normal, but getting, to a
Back
new
to
normal.
meeting people again.
Yeah, right. I think
At least a few people, just not, crowds, but,
Yeah.
start small.
right. And hopefully people are a little more cautious about just being sick in general. Like I was having a conversation with someone the other day, and it's like, how many times do you, if you're at work in an office or something throughout the year, do people still come to work if they have, a cold or even the flu? Like some people, and if you get grossed out by this, anyone listening, then obviously you have never been in this situation. There's a lot of people, not everyone, but some people in like the food industry or something, like if they get sick, they have no way to they don't have PTO, they don't have sick days. And if they can't pay their rent because they were out a day, then they're completely screwed. So like they'll go into work sick because they have to.
Yikes.
They absolutely have to. Which,
Wow.
first of all, should not be a thing. Like, they shouldn't have to do that.
Right.
Like, raise the minimum wage. And if you don't agree with that, then go away. But, yeah, like, that should not be something that someone is, like, a position someone's put in. But they are. So
Yeah.
at this point, like, if
Some
you're...
sort of sick leave, definitely.
Right. So, like, if you're at work and there are people who are sick, like, I might just have a mask at my desk anyway to wear. Honestly, like it's interesting, like knowing some of the tactics and some of the things that people are using or that we've been using now for COVID. I don't think they should necessarily just go away like that. Like
Yeah.
people use hand sanitizer all the time. Why not use a mask?
Yeah. And like, I don't know, just trying to get back to some sort of normalcy is going to be interesting, especially in the movie industry, I think.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
From the bottom up, movie theaters to now with like the only movie we kind of talked about this summer was Tenet, or fall, I guess, whatever.
Yeah, that's really the only thing that came out that I can think of.
Yeah, I'm trying to... there were maybe some others, like I know you're all about the horror films, Rehana,
That's my jam.
but Possessor was a film, I guess.
Yeah, I feel like there were some, maybe...
Only at the beginning of the year.
Yeah,
really,
like less
with
talked
the
about
Oscars
movies. Yeah.
And Invisible Man we talked about.
Ooh, yeah, that's right. Oh my gosh. See, like that feels like that was a year and a half ago. Like, how was that?
I know, it does.
It's so bonkers.
The rhythm section that was out. I was... Then Saint Maud never came out still, only in England.
Yeah, yep. And and like there are so many movies that came out and they just went right to like Amazon or Hulu or like what am I thinking of?
Just on demand online,
Yeah,
basically.
yeah. And so like, and they're good movies, but then you have to think like, were they supposed to come out in theaters and they just didn't have the opportunity? So this is, and how does that affect a film?
Yeah.
Like so many people spent so much time making this and creating this project and this, piece of work. And then even if they're intending for it to be seen on the big screen, and have people experience it in that format in that way. And now they literally have to say either you don't get it for, let's say, another year, which in that case, things could change between now and then, so who knows? or you're going to get it now and this is how you have to get it. And that could negatively affect them financially or something like that. Like, it's unfortunate.
Right. And yeah, gosh, you have like, I don't know, there's like a lot of movies that were on Netflix. And, I mean, this is kind of that year where now the old rules of maybe the Academy won't really apply.
Right.
So Netflix could see a lot of, films in the Best Picture category, perhaps.
I mean, it really has to. Like, there's not a whole lot of choice.
Right.
Even with some films that, like, we were talking about films like the HBO Max deal that's coming out.
Yeah.
Where all of these films
Huge
over
shift.
the next year, these big films, Wonder Woman, The Matrix, like all these big films are supposed to come out in theaters. And they said, okay, well, they will, assuming theaters are open, but simultaneously, they're going to be released on HBO Max. Like, you're just going to get it.
Right.
Which, for me, as a person who cannot go to the theater and has HBO Max, I'm stoked. But I also know that that's really shitty for the people that, like, actually put in the work to make these huge films. Like, that sucks. Having said that, I'm really excited for Wonder Woman. And I don't think... Was Promising Young Woman one of those? Or is that still just theater?
Well, I know it's coming for theaters. I don't know who... I don't think they were with a studio that said they were going to do that.
Okay. Because I am so excited for that movie.
Me too. I mean, it says it comes out Christmas Day, but I'm like, in the South, I guess?
Right, yeah. I don't, like, because we don't have... I can't think of a single movie theater that's open around here.
No. No, they were shut down.
Yeah.
At least in Minnesota.
Right. Which, as they should be. But then some films that, I remember seeing on Netflix or Hulu or something. And again, I don't remember if they were supposed to come out in theaters or not. They might have just been like Netflix and Hulu productions. But like The Trial of the Chicago 7, that was excellent. And even just recently, there's a movie called Happiest Season, which is a Christmas movie. But, it's fun and it's sort of like an uplifting piece when life is not very uplifting. And it's nice that we're still able to get that. Like, these movies still went through and were able to be completed for us to experience even in this time.
Right. And even with the vaccine hopefully being the beginning of the end, I remember back to April, late March there, just what they consider an essential worker.
Yeah.
Like a Target employee, a grocery store clerk, food chain, of course, supply.
Yeah.
Working at Amazon.
Yep, I was just gonna say Amazon for sure, and like UPS, FedEx, like, like what would things have been like had none of those been open?
Right.
Like, they definitely, they were.
And you got to pay them more because it's like this is you need this,
You really do. I know. Have people been paying? I guess I don't know. Like, have people been paying their workers more during this time? Or are people still being shitty? Like, companies?
I think they were paid more.
Okay, good.
But I don't know for sure. I can't say for sure for everyone.
Right.
So.
And
I know they were given, like, sick leaves typically.
Okay, yeah.
With, like, some companies that, like, if you have a positive test, you
for sure
have to remain out for like 2 weeks, but they pay you for that 2 weeks.
Which is huge, yeah, absolutely, as they should.
Yeah. Or at least the ones that can afford to do so.
Yeah.
But then, like, all the small businesses that are, like, crushed by this and gone. Like, in our film, Electric Addiction, we had Izzy's Ice Cream is now gone.
Yeah.
And I have mixed feelings about that because it's like, like, I don't know. I like that we were able to film it and be there, and I'm really sad that it's not there anymore. So
I know, watching that and seeing that shot, it warmed my heart, because I live just, I mean, not far from where the St. Paul Izzy's was. And yeah, it made me really sad. I was like, oh, I miss Izzy's. So I love that you were able to grab that and put that in the movie too. That's good.
They were so cool about it too. I was really happy, because I remember just going by there once and being like, because we filmed like one of our first days near the Guthrie there, and I was kind of like, that's a cool building. I wonder if we could film there. So I reached out to them. They're like, yeah, you just come before we're open or something. And
that's so cool.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah, you got some amazing shots of the cities. You really did. Like, they were so beautiful. And it's funny because it would go from like scene to scene, and I'd be like, oh my God, I know where that is. That's awesome. And I'd be like, oh my God, I love that area. Like, oh my gosh, I know exactly where that is. Which is dumb, because obviously it's Minnesota. Of course, I know where everything is. But like, it's just so cool, like when you sit and watch it, because we're not used to that, you know?
Yeah.
And seeing these beautiful locations, like it was awesome.
Yeah, you always see New York.
Yeah.
You always see LA, Vegas,
Chicago.
Chicago, yeah.
Which is great.
Even Detroit gets its shout out. It's just like, come on, where's Minneapolis?
Right. Like, Minneapolis is gorgeous. And St. Paul even. I love both of them. Like, love them. So yeah, I thought that was fantastic. You did an excellent job with those shots and those moments.
You. Now that you've seen it,
I have.
What are your thoughts, reactions, other than like obviously the notable places?
Ooh, that's such a good question. Yes, notable places, but honestly, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was excellent. I loved the talent that you had in the film, and I know we've had a few of the cast on the show before over the last couple of years. Because this film has been in the making for a long time.
Since before the podcast. Like, we literally started talking, like, actually laying this out right after production stopped. Yeah.
Yep. And it's funny, I know you and I have talked about it, but I remember a long time ago when the inkling, the fleeting idea of the podcast was out there, which was even long before we actually started it. And we sat down and grabbed coffee and had a conversation about it. And I was like, wow, that'd be really cool. Like, what a great idea. And then you were like, yeah, and I'm think I'm going to start this film, and this is my concept and what I want to do. And I was like, that sounds awesome. And then, time goes by and you made it. And it's awesome. And it's done and out there for people to watch. You guys go to Amazon Prime. Don't have Amazon Prime? First of all, what year are you living in? It's like, get Amazon Prime. But like, it's so good. So I loved the cast.
And it was made very affordable.
Very affordable. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I loved the relationships that were forged within the film, like throughout. I thought that everyone did an incredible job. Because I know some like backstory about the film and the, concept and the way that you had gone about it, like with the, the improv or, oh God, what did you call it? Mumblecore. Yeah. Because of those things, like obviously going into it, I know that. And so it's hard to not know that. But like there were moments where I completely forgot. Like the actors just did such a good job. Like they created those relationships and were just in it together. And did such a good job. It was really wonderful. And I think that the whole concept was really clear, and it's so relatable, especially today. Like even those moments where, someone would be on their phone and clearly so into it that someone else that they're they're physically there with, who's like, hey, I'm right here. I want to have a conversation. Like, be present with me. And they weren't. And the look on their face of just like sadness and disappointment and like, why am I not enough for you in this moment? And you could see like the person scrolling or something. So it's not even like they're having conversation. They're just scrolling. And it's like, why is that more important? And it was so like relatable. And then like with the video gaming and how that becomes just like an obsession in a world. Like there are so many different aspects of this electric addiction, and different ways you can get sucked in, and how it can affect your life in different ways, whether it's your relationship with your child or, your sibling or your friend or just your coworkers, your personality in general, like becoming, a social media, what's it called? Like hey guys, look at me.
Influencer.
Thank you. Yeah. That all of a sudden, she's this different person and her friend's trying to have a conversation with her and realizing oh, this isn't normal anymore. I'm like, me having conversation with you is not what you want anymore. Okay. Got it. So it's, I just thought it was really, really good. It's very well done. I loved the music, obviously. But yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I tried rating it and it wouldn't let me. I don't know how to rate on Amazon Prime apparently, because
I think you have to do it on like your computer.
Oh, that makes more sense. I'm like sitting there trying to do it on the TV. I was like, Jared, how do I do this? He's like, I don't know. I was like, oh my God, I'm like an 85-year-old woman. Like, I can't figure this out.
Yeah, the TV won't let you. I know what you mean.
Okay, that makes me feel less crazy.
It's on your Amazon account. You go to that and then you rate what you've bought.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, excellent, everyone. Please go check it out. It's very good, and you will see a lot of familiar faces and familiar spots. It's really beautiful.
Yeah. 13 days of production. That's how long it took.
Which is very impressive.
Yeah. And spread out over 2 months, like on the weekends. Mm-hmm. So, because like we talked about in Elizabeth's podcast last time, it was a scheduling nightmare.
Yeah. Oh, I believe it. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. Even just the audition, or I mean, not the auditions, the like production meetings and rehearsals, kind of, because we had like a pseudo rehearsal where it was like, okay, so this scene will be like this, and then let's kind of see an example of that. Let's, as improv goes, like I think even like Ava was so good at it, because I remember she even says it in one of the scenes, like, yes, but even though it's yes and like improv, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And geez, it's just like there's so much to talk about with like the actors, how good they are.
They really, really are.
And and some of them just their first time doing acting, or definitely a feature film.
Oh, really?
For a bunch of them, yeah.
I didn't realize that.
Or at least into more of a leading role too. I know Lisa was new to it. DeVell hadn't done a feature film. Who plays DJ Clay?
Yep.
Yeah, it's just, I think, I'm pretty sure everyone in my storyline, which was like the Oliver, Tess, and Paige characters, those three were kind of in my realm. I had I had Grant, who plays Oliver, study Mr. Robot, Elliot's character. And I had Erica, who plays Tess, for the social media star. I had her study like YouTube. We actually found some YouTube videos of some people who were very popular in their followings at the time. And just these episodes, like the last video you see of her in the movie is like kind of from one that was kind of like, is this real or is this like a show, you know?
Right.
Because we really studied that. I had her study that, and just we had interesting conversations about her character, about like, but there has to be like this redeemable value that, you know,
right,
like we're not all simplistically this way necessarily.
Yeah.
So so I like that. I like that there was depth even in the seemingly most shallow people. So or most addicted people.
Right. No, there really was. I thought she did great with her character, because it's really hard, I think, like, knowing some people who maybe try to be that way. You know, to like being on the outside watching them, I'm sure that that's not how they perceive what they're doing. Like, they're, you know, trying to achieve something, but I think that she did an excellent job with,
yeah.
you know, like, this is what I'm doing, and everyone sees it as the way that it's, you know, you're watching it, but like, she's still trying so hard to just live up to this expectation she has for herself. And it's like really genuine, and like she's really trying to be what everyone wants. She thinks everyone wants her to be. Like, it was brilliant. She did a great job.
Yeah. And like there was a scene where we had a party scene, and the way she did her voice was just like, wow. That's that pitch, that, you know, level.
Yes.
Was just like, and she had everyone fooled in the room. I mean, everyone bought it. I mean, it was just like everyone was just totally grossed out by it.
Yeah.
It was just so brilliant. I could just feel it in the room. People were just like,
I believe
you know?
it.
But it's just, that speaks to how good she was, because people believe she was this person,
right?
And she's acting the whole time. It's just like, if you know Erica, she's nothing like this character. I mean, complete opposite. I mean, you see it in the beginning of the movie, how she transforms herself.
Right.
And down to the eye color, to the hair, to the everything.
Yeah. Which is a great, I really liked that shot while she's getting ready and having everything sped up. 'Cause that's the reality. You know,
Yeah.
like, Instagram's great, Facebook is great, all these things, but in reality, that's...
And we're all falling for
all
it.
of us.
Even to this day.
Even though everyone's also doing the exact same thing. Like...
Right.
Like, I generally don't post a bunch of pictures of me with the way that my hair looks when I wake up in the morning and having, like... I'm like, you know? Like, like, you know, you want to... Yeah. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, people who follow celebrities, it's like, again, like that whole saying, the highlight reel, you know, comparing your whole life to a highlight reel is not realistic, you know.
Yes.
Because people don't show you things they aren't proud of necessarily, so. But then you have, like, the technology aspect of it, which is like this looming character in the film, Silas, the company.
Yeah.
Which, again, I equated to like a Google-ish type of thing, or maybe even Amazon, but just some huge entity that's like always running the system, you know. But yeah, that was, it's interesting to see, you know, we're all connected, but through this thing,
right?
You know?
Absolutely. So yeah, super, super proud of you for completing that. I know that it was a very long-running project, and something that you were determined to complete. Like, that was a big thing for you, and you did a great job.
Yeah.
And everybody involved, great job. It was awesome.
Yeah, what is that they say in the military? Charlie Mike, complete mission.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the producer's job, you know. Make sure it gets done.
Exactly.
So, a bit of light in the darkness for the end of 2020, hopefully, for some people.
Would you say that's your like highlight of the year?
Absolutely.
I would say that might be more difficult for some people, but I feel like with that sneaking in before the end of the year.
Yeah, I was very, as you know from the last episode, I was very concerned it wouldn't happen.
Yes, you were.
Because in some ways, it is a crowded area to release online now. Because everyone's doing that.
Right.
And now you have, like we talked about with HBO Max, all these big films coming in now. But I did know that, like, once the shutdown happened, that meant all festivals were off the table.
Right.
I was like, okay, this is not going to, like what was it? South by Southwest. That was the one.
Yeah.
Like once they shut down, it was like, okay, nothing else is going to go through. Because understanding what the pandemic meant for the world, not just here, really changes priorities. You know?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
So yeah, I think I looked at it like, well, you could give it to them, but they're just going to put it online.
Right.
So why don't you just put it online?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Because festivals you don't make money on, and if it's online through a festival, it's like you're just giving it away, really.
Yeah.
So without the added value, which is unfortunate because I love festivals.
You do.
I love our local festivals and the big Kahuna festivals.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But then again, I wouldn't get a big selection either. We did submit to previous years and were rejected. So it was just, it was like, maybe this is the way it's supposed to be,
Yeah. And at least you got it out there.
Right.
It's a huge accomplishment.
Well, this has been a year for our podcast, don't you think?
Yeah, it's been it's been different. Not bad, just very different from when we first started, from the first 2 years.
Yeah, those 2 years we had a good run.
Yeah.
No.
It was a good shot.
Yeah. You tried your best.
Exactly. Just totally kidding.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
But yeah, it was interesting going from, the format of, we always have a different guest on and we're really talking about what they do, how they got into it, them working here in Minnesota, any experience they have outside of it, why are they here, like what do they have going on here and all this stuff, and really, really talking about the community here, to not being able to record at all for a few weeks, until we figured it out, but not really being able to have like guests on or anything, and then nothing's really happening, and so there's not really a whole lot locally to talk about. So it was interesting finding a new direction, and I actually I really enjoyed what we've done this year, the episodes that we've had, the films that we've talked about, some of the bits we have going on. I've enjoyed it personally, but yeah.
I think this is a huge year for you. You watched E.T.
I did. I watched it. I didn't want to watch it, but I did it.
Yeah, I was ready to throw in the towel. I really was. I was like, oh, if she's not going to do it now.
Right, yeah. I didn't really have an excuse anymore. If I'm not going to make time to do it when I'm stuck at home 24/7 for 9 months, then when will I watch it?
But you did it for the podcast.
I did it.
You did it, yeah.
Yeah. I had some rough notes for it. I'm pretty sure I lost us a couple listeners.
Well, here's the thing, is like with, I realize you have the 20th edition, whatever, 20th year anniversary edition.
Yeah.
And they added all that CG stuff in, which I think made it worse.
See, there's that.
And it made me feel good because even Spielberg is insecure about his film 20 years later.
Right.
It's like, you know what? If we're going to re-release this, we have to change some things.
Yeah. That's a good
If we're
point.
going to make a big deal, I don't want it like it was.
Right.
It's like, what?
That's a really good point. Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
every creator is always looking for ways to make their craft better, or like make their projects a little bit better, and reflect on what they've done. So yeah, that's true. I can tell you I will never watch it again, but that's okay.
I understand.
Yeah,
Yes.
there are hundreds of other movies that I have not seen, some of which we've discussed here, that people constantly give me that like disappointed and like, ew, what are you kind of look when they find out. Yeah, so, I've still got a ways to go.
Ew, what are you?
Oh,
Who are
yeah.
these people?
Like, what are you? You haven't seen the Goonies? Like, yeah, get off my back about it. What? Like, yes. You haven't seen Love Actually. I'm not making you feel like a friggin' alien. But, yeah, and I understand those two are not comparable. I don't care. Don't at me about it. But, yeah, so that was one thing.
Don't slide into Rehana's DMs.
Yeah. You will not like my tone.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's been an interesting sort of segue from what the podcast was to what it is now because of the pandemic. Like, it's interesting that it changed the way that it did, but at the same time I'm glad that it's still going. Like, it didn't just fall off because of this. And that is all thanks to you, because I am a technical dummy. So had you not been like, hey, we can do this, I never would have thought of it. Like, I would have been like, oh, I guess we can't do it.
Well, that came on the cusp of our last one before the shutdown was with, like, listening to podcasts.
Yeah.
Like other podcasts. And our favorites. And one of them had, I forget which podcast it was, where they did it through like a call like what we do. And they recorded it on each end for better quality. So it's like, oh, yeah, that makes a lot more sense, because no one wants that echoey Zoom call sound.
Right.
We all hear that all the time. So
yeah.
And it's not, I mean, we're used to it, but we're not, it's not.
But it's still not like, you don't want it.
We at least want to deliver some inch of quality.
Right,
so.
exactly. So yeah.
Game of inches.
Yes. So yeah, I'm really glad that it's still going on, and we still chat about movies.
And we had, this was originally all supposed to be, FYI for our listeners, it was all supposed to be like the add-on feature. Like, we're going to have a theme show once a month.
Yes.
And it became our whole show.
Yeah. It transformed. Which is fine.
Yeah.
Like, someday we will have guests on consistently again. And, maybe not. Maybe someday it'll just turn into a mixture, a boiling pot mixture of this and that. And it'll work.
I still want to have that nerding out one. I mean, we can just do the intro, outro, maybe movie decade battle or some sort of...
Yes.
Yeah, let us know what type of top 10 thing you guys want to, hear from us.
Yeah. So, like, we want to entertain you. I mean, we're obviously entertained ourselves, but like...
Yeah.
Like, yeah. But if you guys have ideas and you're like, hey, why don't you talk about blank? I mean, yeah, let's talk about blank. Let's do it.
The top 10 horror movies that are acceptable for Rehana.
Yeah, seriously, you would laugh hysterically at what my list of acceptable horror movies is. Like, they're not scary.
Oh.
They're not.
We should compare lists. Maybe that's it. Like, we can, we'll get to horror, but yeah, your acceptable horror top 10.
Like, whew.
And then mine, the real one.
The real one. Okay. There we go.
I'm just kidding.
Or we could even do, like, Christmas movies. I love Christmas movies. I've been watching so many lately. I love them.
Right. What have you been watching?
So we watched Home Alone. We watched Elf. We watched on Netflix. They have that show where they like talk about how it got made, basically, for different films. So like they have the just original season where it was like about, oh God, I don't remember, like Back to the Future or Ghostbusters and things like that.
The movies that made us.
Yeah, that. And then they did Christmas movies. And so we watched that on Elf as well after we watched Elf. Which was fascinating because that almost did not get made, and it almost got scrapped like halfway in the making and then almost towards the end of making it, and then they almost tried to like make it a completely different movie after it was shot. It was a whole thing. So it's fascinating. But yeah, so we watched that and then watched the National Lampoon's Christmas, and I watched Happiest Season, which again is wonderful. Everyone should watch it. There was something else. Shit, I can't remember. Yeah. Oh,
so
The Night Before and Office Christmas Party.
Right.
Both of which I love because they funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. How about you? Have you watched any so far?
I did watch Home Alone.
Nice.
With the cheese pizza.
Yes. Yes.
All to myself. No. I think I can't remember. I've been watching more series lately, like The Flight Attendant, and
I still have to watch that.
Yeah.
It looks so good.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah. Let's see. I started Queen's Gambit. Everyone's raving about that.
It's really good. It took me a hot minute to get like fully into it, but once I was, it really, really is good. It's very interesting. Yeah.
And it's a limited series, so it's like one and done, I think.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
I mean, I guess they could technically keep going if they want to make another season, but they really don't need to. And I would be fine if they didn't.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to think what else, but I guess I can't quite remember. Oh, I did watch Mank.
You're the second person that's mentioned that to me.
Well, it's David Fincher, so he's kind of my guy.
He's your guy, yeah. Mank, M-A-N-K, right?
Yep.
And it's the black and white. Oh, yeah. I didn't. Yeah.
Yeah, black and white isn't really appealing for most people.
I actually love the black and white. I just watching the trailer. I was like, nah. I don't know.
Yeah, this is interesting because this is like one of the first films that I can recall that wasn't adapted or maybe like already franchised out like Alien 3 was for him.
Right.
Everything else has been adapted, but this is like the first that wasn't, and then his father wrote the screenplay, his late father, and so it's kind of more for him.
Interesting.
So, yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. So he's at that part of his career where he can do that, I think. So.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. 100%.
Yeah, and yeah, I guess that's I can't quite remember everything, so right offhand.
It's tough because I feel like this past year, these past 9 months have felt one like a week, and 2, like 6.5 years.
Yeah.
Like, there are so many things that happened earlier in the year, and maybe this is just part of getting older, and maybe I say this every year and I just don't even realize it. I feel like there are things that happened throughout the first half of the year, even like into September, Lord, summer. And all of a sudden someone will remind me and I'm like, oh my God, that was this year? Like, that seems like years ago. Like, what is happening? But I think because of that, time just feels really mushed together. And so it's just like right now, it doesn't feel like Christmas to me. Like, right. I am an advocate for putting your tree up like in October if you want to, because screw people who don't like happiness and joy. And this year, like, I didn't put it up. Jer had to, and he did it halfway through December. And I was like, yeah, sure, cool. All right, whatever. Like, it's just like, it just doesn't feel like Christmas. Like, time doesn't feel real anymore. And because of that, it's tough to be like, oh, time to watch these movies, or like, I have to finish the series really quick. Like, it's just, you have time, but at the same time, who cares? Like, you do, it's fine.
Right.
It's weird. Yeah. I'm looking forward to next year hopefully being better with that, at least.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they were projecting that like June would be the earliest that like most Americans would have like access to the vaccine,
which makes sense.
And yeah,
and
which is good because then it's like summer and
right.
Maybe we'll get more freedom, for doing some things.
Yeah, seeing people that you love and haven't been able to hug for a year.
Yeah.
Yeah. That would be awesome.
Or just hanging out, because it's just like, what's
right?
What's hanging out with people like now?
Yeah, it's funny. A friend of mine and I were talking earlier on Facebook, and I was like, I'm so sorry. Like, I'm super awkward. Like, I don't talk to people anymore. Like you and I talk doing this, and then I talk to Jerry every day, but that's pretty much it. Like, I don't talk to people. And I was like, I'm so awkward. I forgot what it's like to actually have a conversation with like adults. Like, it's just weird. And and she was like, I think that's what everyone's going to be like. No, everyone's just going to be super awkward, and it's going to be great because then we'll feel normal for the first time.
And they'll be on their will they be on their phones? Question mark.
Right. God, I hope not. How sad would that be? You just spent a year and a half like not being able to see human people and being stuck looking at your computer or your TV or your phone nonstop. And then you continue to, maybe that's what we need, is like this big pandemic to then finally really like respect and appreciate the time that we have with people in person.
And breaking the habit. Maybe,
yeah. Yep. Yeah.
The electric addiction.
The electric addiction.
Just slide it in there one more time.
Yeah, exactly. On Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
So, Alan, what are you looking forward to next year? If anything, maybe you're just not even thinking about it. But if you are.
I mean, everything that was supposed to go through production this year didn't, so I'm rethinking strategies on that, and because like the only thing I did this year, which was good, was film one short film called The Sound of Winter, and we had like the full COVID protocol set up and masks, temperatures, and everything. So, yeah, so that was kind of nice to have that day to do that, because we're not doing that at all, if at all, so.
Right.
Unless people are working on like commercials and such, but people are doing that, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess I'm grateful to have done a few things this year, and then next year hopefully getting out of the house more, but but maybe not all the way necessary. We'll see. It's kind of 50-50, so
yeah.
I'm keeping my expectations in check because it's not over till it's over.
Right. 100%.
Yeah.
I hear you.
And the fact that we have a vaccine within like the 9-month period of our awareness basically is astounding about modern medicine, I think.
Yeah.
Because it's like normally that would take a little bit longer to get.
Right.
And back when Spanish flu was a thing, people actually listened to their doctors and stayed at home. So, and that's why it only took a year.
Yep.
But I don't know how long this is going to take. So
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Hopefully everyone stays safe and, just has the focus on that light at the end of the tunnel. We're getting there. It's a long road, but we're getting there. And if we do the hard thing now and we stay safe and we keep our loved ones safe and we make the tough choices, then in 6 months or whatever, like, we could have lost so fewer people and more loved ones will still be around and everything will be okay. Oh, I shouldn't say okay. So many people are gone now. But you know what I mean? Like, we can make this less shitty than it has been if we just do the hard thing. So that's my hope for everyone.
Yes. And there's our explicit ratings.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. Fuck that.
Yes. 2020, get the fuck out.
Yeah.
Nobody wants you here. You ruin
But
everything.
I feel like it has been very revealing this year because everyone was at home when George Floyd happened. And everyone saw it. So now, even on a global level, it's like now... I think there are some things that are still a positive, even though they are a negative in its time. Hopefully a positive, at least going forward. So,
yeah. I'm hoping for...
There's hope.
Yes. A lot of hope happening. A lot of hope for continual change in so many different areas and so many different facets of life. But I do have that hope. Because without that, what are we doing?
Hibernating.
Yes, hibernating, 100%. But yeah, so thank you everyone for sticking with us this year. It's been a long year. It's been weird. It's been sad and uncomfortable and awkward and just maddening and bonkers across the board, but we're all still here and we cannot wait to see what 2021 brings. Hopefully so many good things. I'm keeping the hope. Alan's got the hope. We hope you have the hope.
And we don't know how to close a podcast.
Oh yeah, we are so that's part of the whole I'm awkward all the time and I can't wait for everyone else to be I am so awkward, you guys. So thanks for listening. Thank you. But seriously, thank you for joining us. Thank you for listening. Thank you for sticking with us.
Yeah.
If you want to hear things, hear topics, hear bits, let us know. We'll talk about it. We obviously talk about literally anything, so just let us know. Just send us a message. Hey, why don't you talk about Ruth Bader Ginsburg more? Or hey, why don't you talk about pickles more? We could talk about anything. We're here for you. So
hopefully film related, but
hopefully.
Here's the thing. We were trying to share things on Instagram, but since the election and Instagram's whole, we're not letting you see anything new.
Yeah.
On your hashtag. So it's why?
Yeah. It's a problem.
Yeah.
But
so we'll share your posts. Just keep maybe at Film in Minnesota instead of hashtag Film in Minnesota, or both, just so we can see you guys. So, and we can share your work if you're working on something.
Absolutely, because we do still want to know, and we want to support local artists and local films. Speaking of which, one last time, go to Amazon Prime, check out Electric Addiction. Electric Addiction. It's wonderful. And give it a rating on the computer because you can't on the TV. And yeah, until next time, stay safe. Happy holidays. We'll see you in 2021.